Alright, now here's a brief guide for your essay which will look something like this. There'll be two parts to the question, alright? First part is going to be your 8-mark question. 8-mark requires 2 paragraphs. Alright, so this 8-mark question requires 2 paragraphs. Okay, each paragraph you must give me the full PEEL or CREEL, claim, reason, evidence, explain, or point, evidence, explain, and link. So the first thing you must do is always think about the main point first. So for example, this question, right, clearly tells me explain why relations between Japan and the West soured. So this is the thing they want you to find out. Relationship between Japan and the West. Then the outcome they want you to give is soured. That means it got worse, right? So think of linking words related to a sour relationship. What will it look like? Yes, it will look like a lot of disagreement, right? A lot of disagreement, maybe possibly a lot of hatred, possibly, right? A lot of crisis, okay? A lot of this I cannot see eye to eye, basically, right? Dislike, this a lot of dislike, a crisis, a lot of hatred, a lot of disagreements, a lot of differing opinions. So these are the outcomes you're looking out for. Okay. So for example, one of the main points you can write is, of course, racism. Racism against the Japanese. All right. So once you have identified your main point, then you have to write the details about the racism against the Japanese, which is inside your Remnote notes, right? So things like unfair treaties in the Washington Naval Conference, okay, things like racial discrimination, okay, through the Japanese and Korean Exclusion League, right? Japanese and Korean Exclusion League, and then the Paris Peace Conference, in which Japan's appeal for racial equality was rejected by the league, leading to them leaving altogether. Okay, 2 points should be valid. Okay, two very clear examples about where the racism comes from. So now the next thing you need to do for your paragraph. By the way, this is one paragraph. Okay, one main point, one paragraph. So your P will be this one, racism. Then your evidence will be all these examples of the racism. Now, very important, you have to link all these examples back to the outcome they want you to come up with, which is this, the souring of relationship. Okay, so hence you must link all the aspects of racism, like the Naval Conference, the Korean League, the Paris Peace Conference, to why all these things directly led to souring of relationship, which is all these keywords that you wrote here that you brainstormed just now. So, for example, just briefly, how did this lead to souring of relationship? Well, because all these acts of racism clearly highlights the unfairness, the biasness being shown. And then you have leading to unhappy. So you must think about cause and effect when you do your explanation. All right, how is it going to cause? What is the cause and what is the effect that is going to lead to? So all these instances of racism eventually led to the unfairness and biasness. Then it will lead to unhappiness. Then it will lead to the desire for equality by Japan. And this desire for equality will thus fuel further expansion, thus leading to further expansion that went against the League's principles in Manchuria, right? The Manchurian crisis. And because of this Manchurian crisis, it made the West even more upset, right? Even more upset with Japan, and therefore this further strained their relationship, and therefore it clearly explains how their relationship became sour. So this is called making a valid explanation. It is the same as when you're doing your source base. Alright, in your source base you also do a PEE, right? But in this case the P must come from your own knowledge. Then the elaboration is also not from the source but from your own knowledge, right? What are the examples of your main point? What are your examples of your main point that you listed down? And finally, you must explain it. This is the key to getting the high marks. Alright, explain it. So what if you gave me all these examples? How does it lead to the outcome that the question is asking for? In this case, the question is asking for this outcome, souring of relationship. So you say, therefore, through all these things I listed down, it therefore led to souring of relationship, as it clearly showed the unfair biasness, leading to unhappiness, leading to desire for equality, leading to further expansions that went against the league's principles, leading to the league being upset with them further, and thus leading to their strained relationship. All the links are clearly explained and linked back together. So therefore, I'm answering the question about this souring of relationship. Alright, so this is how it should look like for your 8-mark question.